First of all, good day. I'm John Russell, owner of the Business Source. I'm here with Jared Whitman, my partner, videographer, and podcast videographer extraordinaire. And I want to recognize Lucas is behind the camera. He's really helping us put this together today. It's kind of a new set for us, which, Jared, you're amazing. Got some nice tabletop mics, and we got some high definition 4K cameras. Man, it's kind of high tech for the video world. Hey, this is an opportunity for us to tell some stories. Good and bad bosses. Let me get the actual. I got a chapter in here. I enjoyed writing this. Oh, here it is. Bosses, good and bad. When you're writing a book about being a stand-up leader, if you've worked at more than one place in your life, you probably have encountered bad bosses.
Yeah.
The good bosses are fantastic, and we'll talk about them too, but we're going to talk about the bad bosses. Yeah. And I'm not going to get too far into this, but let's just tell some stories, Jared. And I know you've had some experiences. Before I go into it, I'm going to turn it over to you.
I appreciate that. Yeah, good and bad bosses. I would say in the history of my career, I have experienced more bad bosses than good bosses, which is unfortunate because it's I think it's easy to be it doesn't have to be so hard to be a good boss.
No.
But it's a lot easier to be a bad boss than a good boss.
Being a good boss does not come naturally to most people.
Yeah, it has to be something that you practice on. And you have to be aware of what you're doing and how it's impacting the people around you.
Tell us some stories.
Just like poor communication.
Yeah.
I think communication is so prevalent in any industry or anything that you do or just life in general. Right. So when you have poor communication, that's just puts a wrench in everything. I'm just going through all the stories of bad bosses.
One of the bosses that I had came into work. He stopped shaving about 3 weeks before. I think he was having a mental breakdown. He came into work. He had his pajamas on. Not kidding you. Like nothing. Like nothing was different. That was his physical presence at work.
Yeah.
In his pajamas. Weird. Unshaven. He was off his rocker. Another guy wanted everybody to think he was really smart. So he got a bunch of Wall Street journals and he built them up up to his desk, and then on his desk. So all you could basically see was him sitting behind all his Wall Street journals. And that's what he would do. He'd sit there and read the Wall Street journals. That's all he did. Huh. He was an idiot. Another boss I had used to sit up on the third story in the building.
Yeah.
Never interacted with the employees. Never interacted with the customers.
Yeah.
And he would change policy and make decisions. And it would filter down through his managers. But he would never take responsibility for the bad decisions that he made because he knew nothing about what was going on inside the business.
That is a bad boss.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
I call it operating from a glass house and not being on the front line.
Yeah.
And that's when I realized that bosses who don't participate in customer interactions and at least visit the front line, like a general in a military terms occasionally, don't have the right to tell me what to do.
Right.
But yet they do because they're the boss.
Right.
I had to leave all three of those companies. Just off the top of my head, those are three bad bosses that I had that were, and I'll tell you another story. The boss with the pajamas, when he wanted to make some changes, He called the entire staff out onto the front lawn of the building, and he called out the people who were being fired
What?
and had them come up.
What?
Yeah, it was like they called the hanging tree.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right.
That's incredible.
It was pretty bad. Don't ask me why he did it.
Yeah.
But a bunch of people quit the next day. It was the end of that company.
Yeah.
They just said, this guy's nuts.
Yeah.
He's a maniac. He shouldn't have fired those people.
Right.
And he shouldn't have done it the way he did it.
Right. Yeah. You should definitely.
It was terrible.
Never do that.
That's why I wrote this chapter.
Because of that guy.
Partly because it left a big impact on me.
Yeah.
You know.
I think I got too detailed before, so I'll tell a different story. So going back to communication is key. If you're not communicating what issues someone's going through, or just being blunt with them, I think sometimes like I worked for some bosses that would recognize that people weren't the right people for that seat, and instead of telling them why they weren't the right people or giving them the option to giving them the tools and the map to get into a better state, getting them back on the track, they would just leave them there until things got so bad that they had to get rid of them. So they would fire people when it was convenient for them, instead of firing people right away when they knew they weren't the right people.
Fire fast.
Yeah. They fired slow, and they would talk about I was on the internal team. I was on the bench before I was off the bench, and they would talk about this, so I knew something was coming up, and I knew how they interacted, and it was just like, what a waste of time. You're wasting these people's time when you're wasting everybody's time by just bitching about why they're doing a bad job, but not having a communication with them on what they can do to improve their job, or what they could do to get better.
So everybody who's worked for more than one or two companies has a bad boss story.
Yeah.
Let's talk about ways to avoid that.
Yeah.
That's what this chapter is really all about. Bosses, good and bad. Page 26. Bad bosses put profits before their employees. Every employee has a different set of values that they strive to maintain and grow. So, in my opinion, it's a huge mistake to assume that all people are motivated by money.
I agree with that.
I had a boss that wanted to motivate me with money, and money wasn't my thing. I wanted more time off.
Yeah.
I wanted more vacation.
Yeah.
I'll work harder for more money, but I want more vacation.
Yeah.
He could never understand that. So it was always about the money. I'm like, dude, you're disconnected. You don't understand. So my recommendation is, in one-on-one meetings, the employer should spend some time with the employee and ask enough open-ended questions to learn and understand what are their values and beliefs and what motivates them.
I think bosses should work on their business more than they work in their business. Right. And this goes back to building a good bench, so you can have people you can rely on to work in your business, so that you can work on your business by being a good boss, being a stand-up leader. There's nothing more powerful, in my opinion, than good job.
Right.
This is good work.
Recognition.
You're doing...
That's what people want more than anything else.
I have worked for a few bosses that have never said thank you, or never said you're doing a good job, or you're doing good work. And I came to the realization that I don't need their recognition anymore. I just look at the data and see, oh, we grew 77% in 3 years.
Right.
We've brought in 1,900 brand new customers in the last 90 days.
Right.
That's my good job.
Right. Those are real numbers.
Though that's real data. But there's so much value in someone higher up, someone who owns the company, going around to an employee and saying, you're doing good work. Thank you for your service, or thank you for being here.
Recognition.
Yeah,
It's
just
the number one thing.
just thanks goes a long way.
So here's another thing. If you want to provide an incentive for employees, customize a program where the employee can get more of what they want related to their core values.
Yeah.
Why have it be one size fits all
It's not
incentive?
Yeah.
Yeah, give that person what they want.
Yeah.
Give that person what they want, and they'll go to the end of the earth for you.
Yeah.
It aligns with their motivation to do more work so they can live a better life.
Yes.
How hard is that?
Yeah.
Not just make more money.
Right.
It's the bigger picture. So employees don't work for the company, they work for themselves. I learned that from listening to other people. And sometimes owners get frustrated because they don't understand why their employees don't want to work harder.
Right.
What they don't understand is it's not their business.
Right.
I'd like to tell you that people that work for me sometimes, I'd like them to share the same level of motivation and excitement and passion and interest.
Yeah.
They could give a shit.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I get it. I was an employee once too. 5 o'clock rolls around, I'm done.
Yeah.
It's your problem now. Here's the keys.
Yeah.
If somebody calls in and there's a fire, you ain't calling me.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
I always I worked as an entrepreneur before being an entrepreneur. And an entrepreneur is like an entrepreneur, only they're working hard within the business. But there came to a point where the recognition wasn't there. There wasn't thanks. My pay got
Pay got cut.
Pay got cut. Not based off the previous year's benefits and growth, but based off an email I sent to the wrong person in the wrong tone, which I totally 100% owned. I messed up, but so
You got called out for it.
I got called out in the wrong way. The communication wasn't there. It was we're gonna subtract your pay to make it look like you're not being rewarded for something bad. So it just was not a great way to go about it.
So I'll tell you 2 more quick bad boss stories, and then we move along on something more positive.
But yeah, we should talk about good bosses.
Okay, well, I worked for a company, and they hired me away from another company with money.
Okay.
6 figures. And it was nice package. And they said, hey, we're going to have you become the sales trainer for all of our divisions across the United States. I'm like, that's really what I wanted.
Yeah.
Didn't happen. I put 6 months into this job, created about $250,000 in new business. They took a bunch of my accounts away, gave them to a bunch of other people, lowered my pay, and told me that the national sales trainer job was off the table.
What?
I quit.
Yeah.
That's it. Done.
Liars.
I'm out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll never forget that. Another guy I worked for, this is the last bad story. He used to have a saying. When things were tough and we were short on our goals or whatever, you do whatever it takes. Do whatever it takes. Well, you know what that means? Nothing else matters. Your family doesn't matter. You don't matter. Nothing else matters. Put everything about this company ahead of everything else in your life. So what happened was I realized quickly that I wasn't going to do it.
Right.
And because that person was so arrogant and so incredibly out of touch with reality, I quit.
Yeah.
And all he needed to do, instead of coming to me and say, whatever it takes, you get it done.
Yeah.
He said, he should have said, let's team up and let's find a way to make this work so that you can be happy here and we can solve this problem together.
Right.
But he didn't. It was just a go do it, whatever it takes.
Yeah.
Nothing else matters.
I think it's funny when a boss wants you to work harder on their business to help make them successful, but if you can't, just not, my life is my life, right? I have a life outside of the business. I do things outside of the business. I'm not bleeding for your
If they
company.
only had understood that if they help me achieve my personal goals, which is to have more time off, spend more time with my family, I would have gladly done whatever he wanted.
Yeah.
But he didn't care about that.
Right. There, I think bosses or owners they're looking too much at the company. They have their blinders on. They're too focused on numbers, and they need to be focused more on employees. Take care of your employees, and your employees will take care of
your
you.
customers.
So I mean, they'll take care of your customers. They'll take care of you. They'll take care of your business.
Right.
They'll prop your business up. They'll promote your business to other employees, to other friends. That cuts your recruiting costs.
Right.
It's a huge spiral,
Right.
a web of interconnected things by just being a good boss.
Here's another example of a bad boss. I can't get off the subject. Boss comes in, says, "Hey, let's set your goals for next year. You're a salesperson. Okay, here's my goal. I'm going to do $1 million. Okay, great. So you go out and you're like, hey, look, I'm gonna hit my number. Nah, guess what? The numbers are going to change. There's a new number. You said you'd do $1 million. Hey, I appreciate that, but now you got to do $1.5 million. That's not my number. That's your number.
Yeah.
I gave you my number. I said I'd hit $1 million. I hit $1 million, and now you want me to do 1.5? And you're going to penalize me financially if I don't get there? What's wrong with that picture?
There's a lot wrong with that picture.
So, on the other side of the coin, we talked about servant leaders.
Yeah.
And great managers.
Yeah.
The ones that you just love working for. They are there to support you.
Yeah.
They are there to help you get what you need. They are there to make sure that your work is being recognized. And they're recognizing you for doing good work. And they're there early so they can help you navigate through any challenges that you have. They're there at the end of the day. How's it going? How'd you do today? What can I help you with? It's so easy. It's unreal that more business owners, managers, and business leaders don't have enough empathy to get with the people.
I think in this market now, there's a shift in the market where it's more relational, and that's not just with brands building relationships and rapport with their customers, but more relational, more empathetic to brands and their employees. And we've killed this horse multiple times. Right. But when you take care of your employees, right, they will take care of your customers. They'll take care of your company. Right. They'll be there and just rock out and just love what they do. Yeah. I've certainly been in a couple situations where I've worked with service type managers, bosses that wanted to make sure that I had the tools I needed to be successful. And if I was struggling with something, they would coach, they would mentor me into figuring out where my blind spots were. And they helped me move past those roadblocks and going on to be something successful. Or found out that this one job wasn't great for me, but I was really good at this job. And so they said, hey, why don't you come work in the main office? You'll be a sales manager, and you'll help train and interview and support the district manager. And so that I was able to really grow personally from that standpoint. Right. And that's a good boss realizing, right, that
maximize my
genius. Yeah. Maximize my strength.
Yeah. What's the talent? Yeah. How are we going to get to it? Yeah. Everybody's good at something. Yeah. So in short, there's a lot of bad bosses in the world, but if you're a business owner or a business leader or a manager, take inventory of how you're treating your people. Find out what they believe in. Find out what they value. Find out what's important to them. What are their goals in life? When was the last time you asked somebody who's working for you, what are you trying to accomplish? Where are you headed? Where do you want to be in a couple of years? I mean, it sounds like an interview question, doesn't it?
I think that's good.
Why wouldn't it be a question for an established employee
Yeah.
who you want to see have a great future with your company?
Wouldn't
it be an annual thing?
If you're doing annual reviews or 90-day reviews, you should always ask your employees that question, because now it feels like you're invested
What's
in their
important
life.
to you?
Yeah.
If I can help you get that, would that make you happy? Yeah.
Exactly.
Has nothing to do with work.
Yeah. I think there's a good quote out there, and I think I said it before. Like, the more you help people achieve their goals and successes, the more you'll succeed,
Right.
As well.
Right.
Well, it's not just a standpoint of business to business or customer to business or whatever.
Right.
Look at your employees. The more you're able to stop working in your business and start working on your business,
Right.
work on your employees, work on the relationship, work on building a positive culture,
Right.
And positively impacting your employees and the people below you and the people on your bench, and support them.
Work becomes a joy.
It becomes a joy. You're no longer.
That's when people say, I love my job.
Yes.
I love my boss.
Yes.
I'm never leaving.
Yeah.
Unless they fire me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which happens.
It does happen.
So I think we've done a good job telling some old stories about bad bosses. Yeah. And I think the key to be a stand-up leader, quite honestly, is to take the time to get to know your people, get to know your customers, spend some time out on the front line.
Yeah.
And find out what's really happening. And I'll tell you, don't be afraid to hire somebody like myself to survey your customers. Find out, what do your customers think? That's another thing companies don't do enough of.
Yep.
They don't know what the customers think. Did you exceed their expectations, or did you fail? Are they going to give you a referral and an endorsement and a testimonial and a 5-star review? Or is there something amiss that maybe you can correct and end up winning a customer for life on the back end?
And a customer could be external customer,
right,
or internal customer,
right,
like an employee.
That's exactly right.
So just like, whenever you say customer, just if you're thinking external customer, take that out and replace it with internal, because your employees are just as beneficial, or just
they're the number one customer.
Yeah, they are the most important customer.
No question. It starts there, because if you take care of them, they'll take care of everybody else.
Exactly. Yeah. This is a good conversation.
So that's a wrap.
It's a wrap.
Thanks, Jared.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of going through John's book of being a stand-up leader. We talked about good and bad bosses. I'm Jared Whitman. I'm here with John Russell, and we'll see you in the next one.
Thanks a lot.